Okie doke. Hi, everybody. I'm just trying to get, sorry, bear with me. I'm just trying to sort the screen out. My name's Sally. I'm in the UK and I was introduced to the Metabolic Reset 8 years ago. It was my introduction even to Life Plus. If I tell you my background of losing weight, I remember doing my first diet at the age of 16. It was a black coffee and boiled egg diet. I remember it clearly. I have done cabbage soup diet. Over the years, I have done Weight Watchers, I've done Slimming World, I've done Cambridge, I have done Lighter Life. I gained and lost 3 stone 3 times with Lighter Life. I've done Dukan, I've done South Beach. I spent my life on a diet from the age of 16 up until the age of 50, which was when I did the Metabolic Reset. I'll share my photos a little bit later, which I didn't ever think I would be sharing when I took those before pictures 8 years ago. When I asked my partner to take my before pictures, he actually said to me, "Are you sure you want me to?" So when I looked at them afterwards, I understood why he said that. But doing the Metabolic Reset has been the most phenomenal thing I've ever done. It's the first time in my adult life that I've kept the weight off. There may have been a few pounds that have gone on after a holiday, but it soon comes off again. But I was also begging for a knee replacement 2 years prior to doing this. And at the age of 48, I was virtually laughed out of the appointment because they said I was too young. And I was in pain anytime my knee was bent. That included sitting and laying in bed. Coming up and downstairs was absolute agony for me. And I was introduced to the products through the Metabolic Reset, but this is way, way, way more than a diet. The Metabolic Reset is just a tiny little part of what we do. But within 5 days of taking the supplements that we take alongside doing the Metabolic Reset, my knee pain had gone. And it was honestly one of the spookiest moments of my life. Now, I know now it's because my body had become alkaline, so straight away inflammation had gone down. One of the supplements that we take when we're doing it, and I will talk about the supplements at the end, it's organic sulfur. It cleanses the cells to bind to heavy metals and toxins, but it's also a natural anti-inflammatory and painkiller. Sorry, I'm just letting people in as they're coming in through the waiting room. So it's been a life changer for me in terms of pain, in terms of addressing gut health with coming off antidepressants, way more than just losing weight and keeping the weight off. Now, what we've got is the most phenomenal thing to reset the metabolism. It isn't just about losing weight. It isn't just a quick fix weight loss thing. It's way more than that. And we can reset our metabolism back to its highest point. But it does have to be done properly. And if I had £1 for everybody, I'll talk through the different phases, who didn't listen properly, who didn't load properly, who didn't stabilize properly, I'd be off in the Bahamas now, laying on a beach somewhere. So it is something that I am really like, you need to do it properly. You need to listen. You can't faff around doing this. And we have an amazing opportunity and we learn about ourselves so much, you know, along the journey. Now, there are 3 reasons that people put on weight. The first one is lack of nutrition, lack of nutrients, because when our body is lacking, we crave. Sadly, we don't crave spinach and apples, we crave sugar and fat. And when we eat sugar, our insulin levels shoot up. It's at that point that it converts to body fat, but it plummets, leaving you craving more. So you're constantly looking for more carbs, more sugar, and then throw fat into the equation as well. And that just doubles up the problem, really. So we've got lack of nutrients. We've got acidity in the body, causes weight gain. Now, most of us are acidic because of our Western diets. And if you look at red meat, alcohol, dairy, it's all acidic. Pharmaceutical drugs are acidic. And an acidic body tends to be a sick, inflamed body. And it's a body in which illness thrives. And we have a pH balance and we need to be neutral at 7. And this is actually what doing the Metabolic Reset does. It actually normalizes your pH level through the help of the supplements that we take. And then the third reason that people put on weight and find it hard to lose weight is that their metabolism has dipped over the years. Now, every time we diet traditionally, we don't actually lose visceral fat. We lose lean muscle tissue, really, structural fat. We lose the wrong fat. On the scales, we see the scales go down and we think, oh, we've lost weight, but you've actually lost the wrong fat. And when you lose lean muscle tissue, your metabolism dips. So we lose weight, our metabolism has actually dipped because we've lost the wrong fat. We go back up and our merry way and we carry on going back to our old habits and we put the weight on. And then we do another diet. We lose even more lean muscle tissue. Your metabolism dips even more. And then you do another diet and your metabolism dips even more. And then it becomes that you can just look at a slice of bread and you've put on a pound, and it becomes harder and harder to lose weight. And once we reach about age 35, you lose a certain amount of lean muscle tissue every year anyway. So even just aging, your metabolism is dipping. So we have a chance here, not just to lose the weight, but to specifically target the right fat, the visceral fat, but also to reset our metabolisms back to its highest point. So this is way, 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 way more than just a weight loss program, which is why I'm so hot on people doing it properly. The background of the metabolic reset, there was a doctor called A.T.W. Simmons, was years and years ago researching, back in the 70s, researching why very, very overweight people could virtually starve and not lose weight. Also why skinny people could eat and eat and eat and not put on weight. He then ended up going out to India and he became curious how women in third world countries who was skinny and underweight gave birth to plump babies. To him, that didn't make sense. He discovered a hormone called HCG. And HCG is a hormone that all of us produce, men as well, but when we're pregnant, we produce more of it. And the role of it, and even underweight women in third world countries have a certain amount of visceral fat. Visceral fat, the role of visceral fat is to protect the organs, nothing else. But underweight people have visceral fat as well. But the role of the HCG is to force visceral fat out of the body through the umbilical cord into the baby. So the baby's plump when it's born. Now, once the baby's born, it loses weight, becomes malnourished and loses weight. So he, knowing this about HCG, he started doing trials back in the 70s. And he back then was using pregnant women's urine. We don't use anything like that at all now. We've come a long, long way. And for us in the UK, and I know the German guys are very different and the Spanish guys with what they use, but it's based on the same philosophy and research. But we use the activator drops, which are based on HCG, but there is absolutely no hormone in there at all. It's purely the information to activate the hypothalamus gland, which is what opens the fat cells and starts to kickstart the metabolism. So I'm going to draw because I find it much easier to explain. And I always say to people, if you can see it drawn and understand how it works, it'll be a lot easier to stick to, rather than me giving somebody a diet plan of what they can and can't eat and they haven't got a clue why, and they don't understand why they're loading and doing the different phases. So in the body, and this is obviously going to be a very, very rough drawing. Can you see that? Let me turn my thing around that way. If you imagine, we have got the head here, we have got the body, we've got the brain, we've got the hypothalamus gland. The hypothalamus gland is what regulates the metabolism. Now, there are 3 types of fat that our body uses, that we lose. The first type of fat, or the fats, is like energy stores, calories in versus calories out. If we eat too many calories, or we're eating too many carbs, it actually lays around the middle as visceral fat. And this is an absolute science to lose. And when you do a normal diet, you don't lose this fat at all. So on the scales, you might think you've lost weight, but you won't have lost the visceral fat. And that's why men end up with beer bellies. And this is a really dangerous fat because it's full of toxins, and it's the main cause of heart disease and diabetes. And then there's a third type of fat, which is lean muscle tissue. It's structural fat. Now, the heart is a lean muscle, so we don't actually want to be losing that. But when we lose weight, when we do a traditional diet and we cut calories, first of all, we use up the energy stores. When the energy stores are empty, they actually turn to the lean muscle tissue to use. I'm just letting somebody else in. To use for energy. Now, we don't want to lose lean muscle tissue. Lean muscle tissue, if you think about it, is underneath the skin. It's in the muscles. That's why when people lose a lot of weight and they're losing this and they're losing this, that they end up with turkey necks and jowls and bingo wings, and they end up with an apron because they're burning the wrong fat. So we need to protect this. Now, it's only if you do something very, very extreme, like Lighter Life or Cambridge diet, where it's a very low calorie diet where you're eating shakes. And I'm horrified when I look back at the diets that I've done previously with nutritional so-called shakes, because the vitamins in there would have been from a synthetic source. So no place in a human body. So no wonder people had hair loss and receding gums, because they weren't getting nutrients at all. But very rarely do you burn visceral fat. Now, when you're doing a very low calorie diet, you burn up your energy stores. It's only when they are depleted, just letting someone else in, that you actually lose visceral fat. Now, we need to protect this. So with the metabolic reset, we use the little activator. The activator actually activates the hypothalamus gland so that the fat cells open. So your body is flooded with toxins. So we need to actually rest our body from fighting the toxins that we're putting in, but we also need to cleanse our body of these toxins that are being released from the fat cells. So for a minimum of 21 days, I did 28 days, some people do 6 weeks, but it must be a minimum of 21 days. It can be longer though. We're going to totally detox. We are going to rest the body. We're going to rest the adrenal glands. We're going to rest the body from fighting what it sees as toxins that we put in it on a daily basis. So for 21 days, we are cutting out no alcohol. And if I can do it, anybody can do it, because I like a glass of Prosecco. We're not having anything processed, no E-numbers, no Diet Coke, no packet ham, no processed food at all. We're cutting out all fat. Now, I know we have healthy fats, but just during this time, we're cutting out all fat. We are cutting out dairy, and we are going to cut out carbs. Now, carbs are potatoes, rice, pasta, bread, but also fruit falls into that category because fruit is really high in sugar, and so does carrots, peas, sweet corn, beetroot, swede, celeriac, pulses. So no carbs at all. And people go, well, what can you eat then? But actually, you can eat really, really healthily. In the actual guide, which I'll show you in a minute, it doesn't mention eggs. I always say that people can have 2 eggs a day because they're really high in protein. They're low in fat. We can have lean meat. We can have lots of fish. We can have as much salad and vegetables as we like. And if you're somebody who cooks from scratch, it's actually really easy to do. And you can make a really nice bolognese. You can make a nice curry. You can make nice casseroles. Mashed cauliflower became my absolute best friend because on the plate, it looks like rice. So as long as you've got a mound of white and then you've got some nice meat and veg, you can actually eat really healthily. You actually get that you enjoy the taste of food because you're actually discovering what real food tastes like. So for 21 days, we are going to cut out this. We're taking the activator drops. Now, if we went straight into doing this, our body, our brain, even though we have, we would have been using up the energy stores, even though we're using the activator and the fat cells are opening, our brain doesn't compute that. So it would still turn to this to use your use your structural fat for energy, because it's got no energy stores here. Now we need to protect this. We want to protect the skin, we want to protect the muscle, we want to protect the heart. So for 2 days before we do the diet phase, we do what's called loading. And people find it really hard to get their head around doing this. But loading, you're going to eat for 2 days, you're aiming for 4,000 calories a day of high fat food. And people say, yeah, but I don't want to put on weight. And that's why they don't load properly. But you need to load for 2 reasons, really, really important reasons. To load up your energy stores so that your body doesn't turn to this, because we need to protect the structural fat, the lean muscle tissue. So we need to load up the energy stores, but we also need to shock the metabolism. We need to give the metabolism a massive kick up the backside to wake it up. And the people that load the best lose the best. And it's not about people putting on loads of weight in loading, so they go, oh yeah, I've got more to lose. It's nothing to do with that. It shocks the metabolism. So loading is key. And if I had a pound, honestly, for everybody who didn't load properly, and they always regret it afterwards and they admit it afterwards. So loading is really important. Diet phase is really, really important. What happens after this, and whether you've done 21 days or you've done 42 days, however long you do in diet phase, we then go into the next phase, which is called stabilization. And this is so, so, so important, because when we come to the end of the diet phase, we stop taking the activator. And it's at that point that the hypothalamus gland kicks in and starts working by itself. And it's that point that your metabolism resets back to its highest point. Now, if we start adding in toxins in too soon, glass of wine, glass of milk, a few slices of bread, your metabolism is going to dip. And we've got the absolute best chance to keep it there. So stabilization is key. And the clue is in the word, because you stabilize it. So you need to stabilize it for 21 days to stop it dipping again. And again, if I had a pound for everybody who didn't stabilize properly, because they start adding in too many things and things that they shouldn't have, and I'll just have a little bit of that and a little bit of that. So in stabilization, you stop taking the activator. And then for the first 2 days, and this is 21 days stabilization. It doesn't matter how long you've done in diet phase, you always do 21 days stabilization. For the first 2 days, the only difference is that you're not taking the drops. You are still following this absolutely to the T. And then over the next 19 days, you gradually, and I mean gradually, add in a little bit of dairy, a little bit of good fat, a little bit of fruit, a little bit of yogurt, a little bit of nuts, a little bit of pulses, a little bit of lentils. You can add back in a little bit of fruit, a little bit of carrots, peas, sweet corn, but you're still staying away from the 3 baddies, which are alcohol, processed, and carbs. And then after that, you're good to go. Now, some people will do this in cycles. I'll share some photos in a little while, where people will do 2 days loading. They'll do 21 days diet phase, they'll do 21 days stabilization, and they'll go around and do another cycle. You always, always, always load. Diet phase, stabilization. I've got a photo of a lady who's done it 3 times back to back. So personally for me, I think it's easier to do longer in diet phase because you're in the flow of it, and it's easy to stick to. Now with stabilization, the mistake that people make is adding in too many foods at once, because they will add in oh, I can have a bit of meat, oh, I can have a bit of milk, I can have a bit of cheese, I can have a bit of fruit, and I can have a bit of avocado, and I can have a bit of oil, and I can have some nuts. And then the next day, their body's screaming at them, and they don't know which one it's caused. So what I would say is in stabilisation is stay as close to the diet phase as you can. And on the first day, for example, just have a little bit of milk, but stick to it as close as you can. The next day, try a little bit of fruit, see how you get on. The next day, then try a little bit of cheese. The next day, try some carrots. But if your body feels a bit weird, you know exactly what it is that's caused it. But it is honestly the best thing that anybody will ever do. While we're doing it, we are supported nutritionally, and you cannot do it without the nutrients because they all play a really vital role. It's important to cleanse the colon. Daily Biobasics has really gentle fibre to cleanse the colon. It's got really good bacteria in there, probiotics and prebiotics, because we know that gut health is really important. 85% of the immune comes from the gut, and 95% of serotonin production comes from the gut. So you get a really good feel-good feeling. But also every single trace vitamin and mineral that you need is in here. The Life Plus products come from organic plant-based. They're cold processed, which means that no nutrients are lost in production, and they're all 100% bioavailable. So you know that 100% are going to absorb. So that's the main product that we take. Second one are the proanthanols, and these are the antioxidants. These help to protect the cells. They keep the blood healthy. They help to strengthen capillary and artery walls. They help your body to produce collagen and elastin. So as you're losing weight, especially if somebody's got a lot of weight to lose, if they were doing any other diet, they'd end up with hanging skin. So the antioxidants help your body to produce collagen and elastin. So it actually helps your skin to shrink back. So they're really important. Omega-3s we take are really important as well for brain, eye, heart, lung function, anti-inflammatory in the body. These work like a little natural aspirin in the blood as well. And this is the Life Plus philosophy, really. Fourth product we take is MSM Plus. And MSM Plus is organic sulfur. It cleanses the cells, because as the fat cells open, your body's flooded with toxins. This is going to help mop up the toxins. So these cleanse the cells, bind to heavy metals and toxins. It's also a natural anti-inflammatory and a natural painkiller. So if you're ever in pain, you know you can always take more. And then there is an optional protein shake. When I did the reset, I didn't actually know about the protein shake because the lady that introduced me didn't use it, so she didn't bother to tell me about it. But when people use the protein shake, they actually get much better results, because the triple protein shake that Life Plus do is pure protein isolates. And the isolates help the body to repair, help the body to burn fat. So people get much better results. Now, the other thing is that when we cook protein, we kill off a large amount of the isolates. So this is 100% protein isolates. Now, Daily Biobasics is not the nicest tasting stuff in the world. I'll be really honest. It tastes like cold cabbage, gritty water. But when you mix it with the triple protein shake, it actually makes it really Weetabixy. So this is actually the perfect breakfast. It's what's recommended in the actual booklet. And 8 years on, I still have this for my breakfast. I even take it on holiday with me. And I think it's one of the things that's helped keep the weight off. Now, if when people have done the metabolic reset, they then go, I'm not going to bother taking the products anymore, your body goes back to being acidic, you go back to having poor gut health, you end up going back to lacking nutrients. So actually you're making it really difficult for yourself. So the key to keeping it off is to keep taking the products. And we know at the moment, especially, that we need to protect our health. We need to stay alkaline. We need good gut health. We need key vital nutrients. So this, for me, is something that has been an absolute lifestyle change. Yes, I like a fish finger sandwich. I have a fish finger sandwich. Yes, I like a glass of Prosecco. But I know that I'm getting all my nutrients from my food. From my food, I'm not getting nutrients from food because there is no nutrients in food, from my actual supplements. So the key going forward to keeping the weight off is 100% the nutrition. And when you see the results, I mean, for the people that are on here from my group, that are in my Facebook group, you will see the actual results from the supplements, that it's way more than just a weight loss program. You'll see fibromyalgia, you'll see arthritis, you'll see acne, psoriasis, testimonials right up to MS. So really, really important. Some people really don't like Daily Bio Basics, or if they maybe had a gallbladder problem and Daily Bio Basics didn't suit them, there is an option, and that's the TVMs, trace vitamins and minerals. So these are a tablet version. All of those that are here are in here, but there's no gut health in here. So an option is to add in the Biotic Blast, which is the probiotics and prebiotics. But it's personal preference. Having experienced the products over the years and actually seen the results, Daily Bio Basics is a much better option than TVMs. But again, it's a personal preference, really. There are some people that just really don't get on with it. I'll show you some photos. That's what I'll do. Share content, photos. Bear with me. Let me just share my screen. Albums, where are you? Albums. Bear with me. Zoom, client pics, here we go. Right, so. I'll answer questions in a minute, Jackie, because I could literally see your name in the beginning of the question. So I'll just share my screen. So these were my before and after pictures. I didn't ever dream that I would share them in a million years. Thankfully, I had a matching bikini on, because I've had a friend that took her photos and she didn't have anything matching on and she was mortified. You can actually see the difference around my jaw, and I even had an apron. I had an overhang on my stomach. But the power of the products, with the protein helping the body to repair and the antioxidants helping your body to produce collagen and elastin, just helps everything to shrink back. And I lost 25 pounds in 28 days. And I also lost all my knee pain and arthritic thumb pain. That is obviously my back photo. So I think you would never ever get these results with anything else, not in such a healthy way. And there's my front one. And if I zoom in, you can actually see where that fat was around my middle. And that is such a dangerous fat to have around your organs, filled with toxins. And like I said earlier, that's the biggest cause of heart disease and diabetes. This is a friend of mine, Steve. I met Steve coming back from Germany on a plane, sat next to him and his wife on the plane. Steve lost 3 stone in 6 weeks, but he also was type 2 diabetic. He was on at the beginning of having meds for his diabetes. He had really high blood pressure and his doctor wanted to put him on meds, which he didn't want to go on, and he had really bad psoriasis. Within 5 weeks, because Steve was taking the Excel. This is another thing actually that some people choose to use during the metabolic reset, because Excel can help boost your metabolism. Excel is an orange flavour or a beetroot flavour powder. You can actually mix it in with your Daily Bio Basics. Even if you don't have the protein, you can add it in. My breakfast every day is actually the 3 of them put in together. But Excel's got the Nobel Prize ingredient in it, L-arginine. And L-arginine helps to dilate the arteries to improve blood and oxygen flow. So it's really good for energy. It helps stop cholesterol sticking to the artery walls, enables you to exercise at higher intensity for longer, helps your body to produce nitric oxide, which cancer doesn't like. That's my reason for taking it. But it's really good for blood pressure. It can help to normalise blood pressure, because as the blood flow is improving, blood pressure can naturally drop. So within 5 days, Steve's blood pressure had gone to normal. Within a month, his psoriasis had gone. He lost the 3 stone, and he went back to his doctors and said, right, I want off my diabetic meds now. Doctor didn't want him coming off meds, but Steve was insistent. She said, well, okay, come back in another 6 weeks, and if your bloods are still the same, I'll take you off. So Steve's no longer classed as diabetic anymore. So that was a life changer for him. No psoriasis, no diabetes, no high blood pressure, and he lost 3 stone. This is one of the German ladies. She did 2 cycles. So she did diet loading, diet phase, stabilization, went round and did the cycles again. But if you look at her cellulite on her bottom, and that's from the MSM Plus, that's the MSM Plus cleansing the cells. So it's really, really good for cellulite. And because you're targeting that visceral fat, but you wouldn't have got that result with anything else, 100%. This is a friend of mine, Lisa. This is her mum, Beryl, and this is 10 days into the metabolic reset, just 10 days, where you can see the colour of her skin has improved because the antioxidants help improve blood flow. Puffiness has gone down because the body's become alkaline. As I say, an acidic body is an inflamed body, but you can see on her eyelids, I even think her nose looks slimmer. You can see her jowls, and actually you can see her neck, the difference on her neck. So that's just 10 days in. This is a lady who was actually really disappointed because she only lost 5 kilos, which is about 11 pounds for us in the UK. And all her friends were losing much more. But it isn't about the scales. People get so hung up on the scales. It's about your shape. And because our body's repairing with the quality of the protein and the quality of the products, actually you repair muscle, and muscle actually weighs heavier than fat. So sometimes you think, oh, I still want to reach 9 stone, but you're slimmer than you've ever been previously at that weight. So it isn't about scales. It's about targeting this fat, and you will lose fat that you've never lost before. So she was disappointed with the scales until she saw her before and after pictures, and that's in 21 days. So you can actually see how her skin tone has improved, and actually she didn't have it to lose. That's the beauty of it as well, is that it won't let you lose it if you haven't got it to lose. And then there's another really good result after 21 days. And people end up losing it from places that have previously been really, really hard to lose it from. And that back fat for ladies is a traditionally really hard place to lose it from. And then this is my friend Pat, who lives in Switzerland. And again, this was a game changer for her. So her before and after pictures. I don't know exactly what she lost. I'm sure it was in the 30s, 30 odd pounds. And then I love this picture of this lady, because not only has she lost weight, it has given her the confidence to have her hair cut short, to get rid of the glasses, to have a bit of colour put in the front, to get rid of the scarf. So it's life-changing on so many levels. And then this is Dawn. This is an English lady, and she lost 5 stone in 19 weeks. So she obviously did longer in the diet phase. But if I zoom in and you look at her skin is absolutely beautiful, and it's the antioxidants, it's the trace vitamins and minerals, it's the body getting absolutely everything that it needs. And then this is a really good example of a lady who did the metabolic reset. The first column all the way down is day 1. The middle column all the way down is day 21. But the last column is 6 months later. Now, she only did 21 days in the diet phase. Obviously, she did her stabilization, but she's carried on taking the products, and you can see how the products have carried on working in the body. They've carried on cleansing with the MSM, cleansing the cells. So her cellulite's improved, the antioxidants improving the blood flow and strengthening capillary and artery walls. Her skin quality has carried on improving. So that's just to really show the power of the products. And then this was a lady in Jersey. I think she lost about 35 pounds in 5 weeks, but she also lost her rosacea, if you look at her face. Because rosacea is acids in the body trying to come out. So it'll either come out through the skin or it'll come out through the joints. In my case, it's acids trying to come out through the joints. So skin improves, joint pain can improve. So another great one. That's it. I mean, I could keep sharing and sharing and sharing. Over 8 years, I've seen some phenomenal results. And I've seen really good results where it's just been £10. So it isn't about the weight. I've also got a photo of a lady in Australia who gained weight in the 21 days, but she's slimmer because she lost the visceral fat and her body repaired. So too many people get hung up on the scales. It's almost a case of weigh yourself at the beginning, put them away for 21 days, don't get hung up on it. So when we're doing the reset, we've got this on PDF. It's a little guide that we use. So it's a little bit about the background, and then talks you through the different phases, the loading phase, the diet phase, the stabilization phase. It's really important to take photos. I know so many people that have said, no, I don't need to take photos. I'll remember what I look like. And they really regret it. And it's not to ever share it with anybody. It's just for you. And if you're someone that is a bit worried about the scales not moving, it's really good to take a before and after picture and actually see the difference and the difference in your skin tone. So I would definitely say take photos. Then there is a pace. You can weigh every day. Most days you will lose, but it's really normal to plateau between days 10 and 14, 15. And the reason for that is that the fat cells are emptying of water. No, they're not. They're emptying of fat even. They're emptying of fat, but they fill up with water in readiness for you to feed them more fat, because traditionally that's what we do. So if we don't give them any more fat and we carry on with the diet phase, they fill up with water, but after about 4 days they squash and the fat cells collapse. So it's quite normal to plateau, but just don't worry about it. Trust the process, because the process works. It can't not work if you're sticking to it. So you can weigh if you want to. Really, really important, I think, obviously, to weigh at the beginning and then at the end. And then measure yourself as well, because sometimes if the scales aren't moving, you'll notice your measurements changing. And then it talks you through the different phases, and then it gives you a rough outline of your daily consumption. So it will say breakfast, and what is recommended is 1 portion of the protein powder and the comprehensive vitamin mineral drink with fibre made with water. That's the Daily Biobasics and the protein. The good thing about the Daily Biobasics, because it's got the fibre in it, not only is it cleansing the colon, and a cleansed colon will absorb more nutrients, but it's also keeping you fuller for longer. And the triple protein shake is a slow release protein, so that will also keep you full for longer. So that's the recommended breakfast. Lunch is 120 grams of protein with vegetables and salad, as much as you like as salad and veg. And then dinner, roughly the same. It does say mid-morning snack, piece of fruit if desired, but in bold it says only if really necessary, because fruit will slow your weight loss down because of the natural sugars in it. It's also a good thing to cut out snacking. It's a really good habit to get into. I think when I did this, I was shocked at how much I ate in the evening mindlessly. Just automatic pilot, sit down in front of the telly, hand to mouth. Suddenly that's taken away from you and you just think, what the hell? So then you notice that actually I'm thirsty, I'm not hungry. A lot of people mistake hunger for thirst. So always have a drink, have a hot drink. I say that a hot drink is like a hug in a mug. That actually really helps. Or actually just make yourself busy, or take yourself to bed out of the way. I think once you get over your first weekend and you feel really happy, you've seen, you know, that things are moving, you're feeling good, you've got more energy, it will really spur you on to carry on then. So liquids, we say to aim for 2 to 3 litres of water a day to help flush the toxins out. Something that can happen on about the second day is that you can be hit with a monster headache. That's totally normal. And that's a combination of carb withdrawal and your body detoxing. So I just say to people, drink more water, get out and do a fast, brisk walk, get the oxygen and blood pumping around your body. You can take some extra MSM plus and it will soon pass. It only lasts a day, 2 at the most, but it is, if it's showing in a way how toxic your body is, or if you're somebody that's eating loads and loads and loads of carbs. People think it's going to be really hard to cut out carbs. It literally takes 3 days for your bodies to stop craving. So if you know that you're going to be leading up to this, try cutting out carbs before you start. With the loading, sorry, I forgot to mention that, I think it's best to load with healthy fats. So smoked mackerel, avocado, macadamia nuts, olive oil, because you won't feel rubbish. When people do it with lots of sugar and lots of really unhealthy fat, that's actually when they feel horrible. And if somebody loads with masses and masses of carbs, it's just going to make them feel full and bloated, and they won't reach the 4,000 calories. Loading, I think, is really worth planning for, and really looking into the calories in stuff. You know, yes, you can do it with a chicken korma and a tub of Haagen-Dazs, but personally, better to do it with healthy fats. But that's a personal choice, really. So load in 2 days, diet phase minimum 21 days, but it's really worth making nice, tasty food. If you're just going to eat poached chicken and salad, you are going to get bored silly. So it's worth making the effort to make food taste really nice, and try and get some recipes from people. And, you know, and you can make, as I say, a really nice curry, a really nice bolognese. My slow cooker became my best friend because I would batch cook. That made life a lot easier. I used lettuce, big lettuce leaves as wraps instead of a wrap or a sandwich, because sometimes it's nice to just pick something up to bite into. So I think it's really, really worth making the effort. I think I've covered anything. Now, if anybody's got any questions, I am more than happy to answer. But probably what I'll do now is stop the recording, because then people won't be so conscious of what they're asking. Hang on a minute, let me stop the recording.